Hey guys, Steven here, Fanatic Perspective. Welcome to Longhorn Weekly. We are back off of a bye week. Chaotic week 10 in college football. My goodness. I'm actually glad, for once, I'm glad Texas didn't play and we got to chill a little bit and see all the chaos going on around the country. Top five matchups, big time matchups, just a lot of funkiness in week 10. So good to be here tonight talking ball. If you were watching on YouTube, hit that like button, subscribe the whole bit. If you're watching here on the Bleacher Report app, please engage in the chat, show some love. Let me know how you guys are doing. It is game week. We are playing the Florida Gators. The Florida Gators are coming to Austin, Texas. Historically, these two programs have been so good for so long in my lifetime, and having to see them be on the same field will be a sight to see. Now we know Florida's reeling injury wise, especially on offense. Being down Graham Mertz, DJ Lagway looks very, very questionable. I would be surprised if DJ Lagway plays in this football game, considering the hamstring injury he suffered against Georgia, which was really, really sad. They were playing really good ball in that game and had Georgia on the ropes, but just really couldn't move the ball effectively after he left. So we'll see what his availability is, what risk Billy Napier will look to take in this football game. But to me, this is about Texas. And when I look at Texas over the last few weeks, yes, getting back on the board and getting a win in Nashville, road win against a ranked team at the time in Vanderbilt, but it was closer than it should have been. It was one of those games where you left scratching your head about how good is this Texas team, especially this Texas offense, this Texas offensive line. So starting here, can Texas find their identity again on offense? Can they get back to having one of the better playing, one of the higher grading, one of the better performing offensive lines in this country? That was something we talked about going to the Vanderbilt game, but the magnifying glass or the light bulb was on Quinn Ewers. And while he played pretty well in the Vanderbilt game, it then shifted to, well, this Vanderbilt pass rush, which is one of the lesser in the SEC, not as great. Why are they getting so much pressure? How are they able to be so disruptive in the pocket if we're supposed to be one of the better pass blocking teams? They're one of the worst pass rushing teams. Why are these things happening? And it seemed to be picking up from what Georgia exposed against Texas, and putting some more heat in the pocket and showing some of that mobility of Quinn Ewers. So I'm really, really looking to see, after 2 weeks, can this group come out with a punch, but come out with a punch of physicality, but discipline too? Because we talk about, hey, let's get going in the run game. Let's run some of these teams out of these too high safety looks. Let's get reestablished with really what's been our breakout running back this year, Quintravian Wisner. Let's get Jaden Blue back comfortable. And every time we wanted to start getting physical around the rock, it seemed like a flag was getting thrown in the Vanderbilt game. It was penalty galore. So can we show that physicality? I mean, I think some people associate that and say, hey, Steve, no big deal, more on the crew. There were some suspect calls. More times than not, Kelvin Banks isn't going to get called for holding out in space the way he was when he's killing a guy, right? And shout out to Kelvin Banks, who's I just heard that he's having a kid or had a kid, or his situation there of becoming a father. That's really, really dope stuff, Kelvin Banks Jr. But this offensive line getting back to being the dominant physical aspect, because as they go, this team will go. This defense is already there. This is the number one ranked defense in the country. They're allowing the fewest points per game in the country. They're the highest graded defense in the country according to Pro Football Focus. They have been outstanding this year, not only in the air against defending against the pass, but against the run as well. So this is a game where our run defense will be tested. Florida is already a very strong running team as it is. And now with the quarterback issues and them most likely coming into DKR 11 a.m. Central Time Saturday morning with a freshman quarterback in Aiden Warner, they're going to look to be heavy on the ground game, play ball control, dominate time of possession, and shrink this football game. Slow down the pace, muck it up, and then rely on that Florida defense that's been really, really hot recently of turning quarterbacks over, creating turnovers. I think they have 6 turnovers in their last 2 games. So that Florida defense has been ferocious at getting the ball back. These are some things that Texas is going to have to look up against to be dominant early in this football game, right? You're talking about getting out to a good start. Don't allow Florida to turn you over the way that they did with Carson Beck against Georgia. Carson Beck really struggled in that game. Now, a lot of it, poor reads, decision making. He just seems to be regressing over there at Georgia, but you got to give credit to Florida and those DBs and their defensive scheme. Their defensive coordinator has talked all season about how multiple he wants to be, changing the picture on quarterbacks and causing chaos with whatever front he shows. Well, those are some things that have been challenges for Quinn Ewers. Okay, that was some of the processing that kind of slowed down in the Georgia game in particular, and led to some of those things. Now Quinn is also saying, "Hey, feel better. I'm healthier, can move a lot better, starting to feel like I can, feel like my old self again." Well, there would be no better time than the backstretch of this season to see the Quinn Ewers that showed up in Ann Arbor, Michigan. I still did not see that version of Quinn in Nashville. He played better. And when you complete 17 passes in a row, that's great. But a lot of that stuff was still at behind or barely in front of the line of scrimmage. Now he did hit on a couple balls, one for a touchdown downfield. That was nice. But was he being asked to make, to really push the ball down the field and get aggressive and attack a defense like that? No. So the manner in which you saw him operate in the Michigan game, where he is so fluid within the pocket, footwork on point, getting the shoulder squared up, and really taking advantage of the talent and depth we have at receiver. So Isaiah Bond is questionable this week. We'll see if he plays. But when you look at Matthew Golden and some of the opportunities he had in the Georgia game, how well he played in the Vanderbilt game, Ryan Wingo's going to keep playing more and more and more. DeAndre Moore has really, really come on. Silas Bolden being a part of this group. The tight ends being a part of this group led by Gunnar Helm, right? So you have all these guys, even outside of Isaiah Bond, who can really, really help you make plays if they're given the opportunity. And some of it is not always going to be Sark scheming guys wide open on some of the deep crossers or the play action, but really understanding everything's tied together, which is why we've been emphasizing physicality, running the football, making defenses respect your play action. And then the quarterback's got to execute the throws downfield to attack the defense to bump those safeties off and really put people in a bind. And Texas has not been able to do that consistently on offense the last few weeks. I mean, they look great at it early in the season. The defense has maintained the standard throughout the season. And hit me in the comments if with how you feel, right? And also some factors and keys to this particular game. Again, to me, with the quarterback situation at Florida, I have a lot of respect for DJ Lagway, even as a true freshman. What he had shown, that young man has been dangerous with his arm, his legs. The way he was grading out was off the charts. When you talk about big time tight window throws and throws downfield, just big time throws versus turnover laden throws, he was grading off the charts as a true freshman. So that's how well Lagway had been playing, on top of the mobility and what he had been doing in the ground game for them to help get their ground game off and running with guys like Jacoby Jackson, and really, setting the edge and controlling the line of scrimmage in the run game, but also then having those big chunk explosive plays where he has record breaking 4 passes over 40 air yards for a touchdown in X amount of starts. I mean, that's who Texas could potentially be dealing with in Lagway, but the health challenge, to me, that puts Billy Napier and this Florida team in a bind where how many ways can you really beat Texas, right? How many ways? I mean, you're not going to be able to go in there. Elijah Badger's a really good receiver. He's been great down the field, but I don't think you're going to be able to walk in there and ask, Aiden to throw the ball 50 times, 30 times, 40 times and go win the football game from you, right? They're going to have to shorten this game and hope that Texas makes a lot of mistakes on offense and continues their goofy ways, that you muck up the football game. That's exactly the success they had early in the game against Georgia, and they will certainly look to do that against us with how shaky we've been on the offensive line and how shaky we've been in with decision-making from the quarterback position. So, again, let me know what you're worried about there, for this particular matchup or how you're feeling. I'm curious to get people's thoughts. I know listening to Sark and what he's trying to get out of this Texas group and really pushing forward. I do see him looking at the trenches and even the defensive line when guys like Sadir Mitchell, who I was so excited to hear his name called out as somebody that seems to be turning the corner inside the building. A lot of fans may not be aware of Sadir Mitchell or a household name. He was one of the lone defensive tackle recruits we had just a couple years back before Tafondre Sweat and Byron Murphy made that oh my God year last year. He was in the room, recruited by Bo Davis, and that big guy out of New Jersey who was, had some Jordan Davis type comps to him. When you look at what Georgia, where Georgia went and got Jordan Davis and what he developed into, you kind of saw some of those traits, with the young man. And it's interesting because I remember Keandre Coburn going through this same process as Sadir right now and how serious things were and kind of hitting that crossroads with the body and understanding the professionalism it takes to earn a certain amount of snaps every week. So hearing some of those things about Sadir has been encouraging because as tough as our run defense has been, we could always welcome more help later in the season. That's something that I think inherently great teams do, is they continue to develop and manufacture depth throughout the season. So this group here may be 1.5 deep, and by the end of the season, they're 2-3 deep because when guys went down, other guys ready to go, or guys just continue to fight in practice, even if they're not playing, working on their hand fighting, working on their technique in the weight room, nutrition wise, whatever it is, where the light bulb is starting to click on and you're starting to get a more consistent effort. And what as a defensive staff member, you know exactly what you're going to get from that kid when you put him in the game at that slot. You know exactly what you're going to get motor wise when you put this person over here. And you also understand their weaknesses too, right? And hit this shoulder can be attacked. This one, he kind of loses leverage, blah, blah, blah. But it's really, really fun to see your favorite team and those guys like that just develop, right? And become, maximize their potential. So as we kind of continue to go through here, Quinn Ewers, right? You look at the upcoming schedule. How many more opportunities does he have to really show you? I think at this point, folks are kind of waiting for the whole point of the season, and then however he plays in the postseason will ultimately kind of write his legacy, fair or not. But I think that's where we're headed. Now, with that being said, Quinn, from his own stock, for his health stock, for just mind's sake of, okay, I've been out a little bit. I got 2 weeks off. I'm feeling better. I'm saying I'm feeling better. but I'm also showing that I'm better, right? I'm showing some of that zip on the ball again. I'm showing I can push the ball downfield and hit guys like Jonte Cook in the hands, right? Or hit Silas Bolden in the hands. So just seeing him hopefully get to the point of, um, you know, having that consistency is going to be key. It's going to be really, really key because we need that Quinn, that NFL prospect, that guy who we saw not just at Michigan, but last year versus Bama in Tuscaloosa. The guy we saw just in the Big 12 championship game. I made the comment after the loss, if we could just get Quinn back that finished last season, I would take him with this group. And I still feel the same way, especially if they're able to get this run game going. And, maybe Jared Gibson can be a part of that. I'd love to see some freshman juice, freshman energy, and legs a part of that. But when I think of Quinn, and I'm really assessing it from his proficiency to run the offense, get us into good plays. DeAndre Moore made a comment about an audible he made, which, really kind of checked into the big touchdown pass that he had to him. I need to see more of that stuff from him. Do y'all hear me? I need to see more of that stuff from Quinn, not less. Not less, especially if we're able to. Now one could argue, and a lot do, hey, Sark's going to throw to set up the run, right? And come out aggressive. But whatever the game plan is, the point is we got to be able to execute. We can't look like Carson Beck looked last week where the ball is either on the carpet or in the opponent's hands. That's not going to get it done. That's not going to get it done. No way. So we got to be sharper. And locked in from an execution standpoint, because this is a game right now. What I say it's about themselves, because Florida at some point just doesn't have the firepower, and I don't see it, especially from them offensively. I think defensively they've been, like I said, ball hawks, nasty, one of the best teams, turning teams over and just trying to muck up the game. But if they try to play it straight up, it'd be a wrap. But that's the beauty of college basketball. You can play however you want, whatever style you want, whatever's going to maximize your team's abilities and minimize their weaknesses. That's what we're going to roll with. And, at this point, Florida being so down, what else they got to lose? What else they got to lose? I'm going to say this again, too, because it was an issue in the Vanderbilt game. It was definitely an issue in the Georgia game. Not things that are killer things, but I think it needs to be stated. Special teams needs to be on point. I would love to see special teams make a play this week. And I'm not just talking about our kicking game. Our punting game can be a lot better for sure. But, the decision-making we have on punt return, when we go for pump block or field goal block, we have so many great athletes on this football team. There's no reason why we can't put 12 people out there to go and down that football and go get it back each and every day. It doesn't make any sense to me. Even with the injuries, it doesn't make sense to me. Our special teams unit should be one of the best in the country, like they really been the last 5-6 years, in my opinion. I don't want this to be a team where the defense starts to figure some things out. They start getting stops. The offense is, looking better and more proficient again, and they're running the ball, and then special teams is over here screwing them up with horrible field position. That's what I don't want to see. That's what I can't have happening, is special teams is just ruining our field position, either because of, where we're stopping people and they're punting and all those type of things, but also some of the legs we face have been incredible. Face some incredible legs too, that can boot the football with the best of them. But Dominant teams find a way. Dominant teams don't make excuses, and dominant teams just keep it moving. Keep it moving. That's what this. That's what Texas is gonna have to go out there and do at DKR, because the national media, people are starting to question Texas's strength of schedule. People are starting to question, well, who has Texas played? Um, and oh, they squeaked by Vanderbilt, blah blah blah. Like nobody else has had a squeaker. Here's the real deal though. If you understand ball, Vanderbilt's a good team. If you understand ball, um, and what they've done all year with Pavia, the Longhorns should get credit for that Vanderbilt win. And with Florida, how feisty Florida has been. Look what Florida, look what they were doing to Georgia before Lagway went down. So to start, I never thought in my wildest dream, I'm gonna go here. I never thought our strength of schedule would be questioned moving into the SEC. That's the last thing I thought people would question. I never thought moving into the SEC, our strength of schedule would be questioned. I never thought it. But you got people on TV, like Joey Galloway and some others who are like, "Ooh, who does Texas play?" Don't act like we're not battle tested. Don't do that. I'm not saying we've had the hardest schedule or anything like that. Florida's schedule is ridiculous, by the way. Because after us, they still got to play, like, I think OU, LSU, maybe Ole Miss. Like, they got a gauntlet of a schedule. Florida does. Texas's schedule is manageable. It's manageable, right? It's Florida game, Arkansas, Kentucky, Texas A&M. 4 games left. So now's the time to go out there and say, look, we don't want to be the team that was the best team in September and then we sputtered and fell off. Mm-mm. You want to be the best looking team down the stretch. What's up, Lexus Jones? What's up, man? Welcome. Welcome to Longhorn Weekly. Just talking a little ball. Texas got to bounce back this week. Continue this, really, really nice season that they've been having, but they need to reassert that dominance again. Let me know in the chat what y'all think about that, right? What does that mean? Reasserting our dominance at the line, both lines of scrimmage. What's up, Jay? Chilling. I'm chilling. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, and if you're on Bleacher Report, I'll send you some a friend request or something. I just appreciate everybody that's on this platform that uses this app and interacts with each other. It's really, really dope. Be the bully, be the villain. Amen. No, it's time to get back to I want to see that. There was a stretch in that Michigan game where we just felt like we were mauling, watching Jake Majors pulling, getting downhill, Hayden Connor on double team, DJ Campbell mauling, Cam Williams mauling. And that's what I want. That's where I'm like, oh, Texas can do whatever they want when they play like that. Because when your offensive line plays like that in the run game, you're going to have a hard time worrying about pass rush, number one. And number two, our skill position guys are unbelievable. And will embarrass you if given the opportunity. But to me, being a bully, it starts up front. Get to the point where teams know what we're going to do and can't stop us. Yep. We should have that mindset of I don't care if they think we're going to run the ball. We're going to run the ball, and we're going to be damn good at it. And we're going to get 5-6 yards a pop and keep toting that rock. Now, do I think that they'll have to do all these crazy things against Florida? I think you expect the crazy from Florida and some unconventional things, some things that they probably attempt to do to stay in the football game and keep themselves competitive. But if you're on the Longhorn side, stay the course and execute the freaking game plan, and let's get out of here. Let's not. Please don't play with your food this week. My little heart can't continue to take this. Go in there. It's the second to last home game of the season. No reason why this shouldn't be a belt to ass game. No reason why it shouldn't be a belt to ass game. It's the second to last game of the season, y'all. The last 6 minutes of the 23 Bama game. That's what I want Texas to be. Well, that's championship effort. It's championship focus. Got to lock in. Got to lock in. Let me see here if there's any other comments I want to address. You guys let me know your prediction in the comments too. What do you got? Texas, Florida. I think it's I'm not going to say no-brainer for Texas, but with the quarterback situation at Florida, that was a guy too who I really didn't want to play because I love the guy so much. I love his game, DJ Lagway, but really unfortunate injury. Very unfortunate. The kid's so talented. Just exploded into the college football landscape. So, we'll see what Carson Beck does and what he's able to do or try to do or can't do, what have you. $31-10, Texas. Did I say Carson Beck or I meant Aiden Warner or whatever? But the Aiden Warner kid, because I think that's the other thing. The Texas defense is about to go out there and just go ham and keep their number one status. Be the hammer, not the nail. You ever heard that? Be the hammer, not the nail. Used to say that in our football meetings when I was in high school. Be the hammer, not the nail. I mean, really, the only thing you're going back to what I said at the beginning of the video or this conversation. Texas defense, I think that's why they were mentioning guys up front on that defensive line of just locking in those defensive linemen because this is going to be run game heavy. They're probably going to have wildcat packages. They're probably going to have people, a lot of motion, things to throw us off and things to just keep moving the chains, right? And keeping Texas in a, 4th and 1, 4th and short. Are you blitzing Florida's QB since we probably won't get Lagway Saturday? We don't blitz very much. I think you stay with what you do. I wouldn't want to blitz and get out of position, do something uncharacteristic that we don't normally do, and then Elijah Badger's off to the races down the field. No. I'd like us theoretically to keep everything in front and play how we played and defend the run how we've defended the run. Because what we're forcing out of some of these quarterbacks is patience. And when you force some of that patience out of some of these quarterbacks, they eventually start to press on their own and will turn the football over for you. And if your offense is doing what they need to do, that pressure will only build. If they keep saying, oh, we're punting, we're not necessarily turning the ball over, but we're struggling to move the ball down the field. Oh, but that Texas offense, Quinn and them, they flying. Literally, just boom, 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 getting hit with everything. Then that pressure to keep up, with the personnel that you have or don't have, that becomes so difficult if you're Florida and Billy Napier's group. So if you're Texas, you just push that thing into the 30s. This needs to be the roll out of bed, no less than 30 start type stuff. So I agree with that, idea of the score prediction. That's the range it needs to be in, quite frankly. Don't give nothing up to a third string quarterback who Georgia only allowed 77 yards, right? Especially when you're the number one defense in the country and playing as hot as Texas has played. No cheap stuff. They hit their shots. They hit some of their shots in the Georgia game off of turnovers, and Lagway's just throwing bombs and dimes and all that type of stuff. But we got to be ready to get our hands on the football if those things start to present themselves. I'm gonna just say that. Get ready to get your picks up. Well, like I said, hit that like button, subscribe, the whole bit. Let me know in the comments what you think. I think Texas can look dominant again. Give me Texas in this game. 38. I do respect the Florida defense, and I do think that they will give Quinn some trouble early on. But give me Texas 38-6. 38-6. I think Florida's able to kick a couple field goals. I think we hold Florida out of the end zone. I do think this is probably a little bit closer game than people understand. Maybe 14-6 or 13-6 or something like that at halftime. Texas. Before they really pull away in the second half and wear down this Florida defense. This Florida's defense that has been hungry for turnovers. Excuse me. Very, very aggressive. Really aggressive Florida defense. Like I said, I think they have like 6 turnovers in the last 2 games. So we got to be on our A game on point. Just take care of the ball. But this game's about Texas looking dominant again and showing that Texas fight. So I appreciate everybody that's joined today. My time is here, but go check out Fanatic Perspective, all platforms, YouTube, the whole bit. Lex Jones said, I'm going to be looking at Quinn's feet all game. When he sets his feet with a good base, Quinn is a championship-level quarterback. #hook 'em. I agree. I would love to get a scouting report from you after the game, too. Hit me on Twitter or wherever you need to, but I'd love to see some of your notes. If obviously I'll be watching as well, but in terms of area of focus and alien and all that, I'll be plugging with you, Lexus. So I will be easy. Love you guys. Appreciate this. Always good chatting it up. Thanks to the Bleacher Report family for having me on. Remember, horns always up. Hook 'em.